The diencephalon, here depicted in green, is the third largest region of the brain, visible once the cerebrum is removed. 80% of the diencephalon consists of the thalamus. The thalamus is primarily composed of two large lateral lobes, which are lateral to the third ventricle filled with cerebrospinal fluid, and these lobes lie inferior to the lateral ventricles above them. In addition to these lateral lobes, the thalamus does include the gray matter which forms the lateral wall of the third ventricle. These two lateral lobes can join in the midline at an intermediate mass, also known as the interthalamic adhesion. This is not universally present, however, being absent in perhaps 20 to 30% of people, and also shows some variation. In women, the structure tends to be larger, and in males, more likely to be absent. There is no known significance to this. While the thalamus is mostly composed of gray matter, there are bands of myelinated fibers which can be organized into the external medullary lamina, which surrounds the thalamus, and the internal medullary lamina, which separates nuclei within the thalamus. One can observe, say from a dorsal view, a Y-shaped pattern of this white matter, which splits the thalamus into anterior, medial, and lateral sections. Given its central position in the brain, obviously the thalamus is connected to other regions. The midbrain, one can observe the mammillothalamic tract here, connecting the mammillary bodies of the hypothalamus to the thalamus. The thalamus is connected to the basal ganglia of the cerebrum, which are adjacent to it. And the thalamus is connected to the cerebral cortex. There are thalamocortical tracts, which proceed from the thalamus to the cerebral cortex. There are corticothalamic tracts which connect the cerebral cortex to the thalamus. The cerebral cortex is actually the region of the brain with which the majority of the thalamic synapses form, and many of these pathways are reciprocal in that there are fibers going both to and from the thalamus to the cerebral cortex.